Bishop Swanson, another petition that passed related to the traditional plan was about the complaint process and just resolutions, which most people, if you're sitting on a pew every Sunday, probably aren't even sure what that is. So could you define those for us and explain how those two things impacts local churches here in Mississippi in the conference and in the connection?
And then I've thought a great deal about this even since I've done these 11 pieces. To me, it is one of the bonuses or one of the blessings of being a part of a connectional system. And that a local congregation should not have to worry about whether or not their pastor has been vetted, whether or not that pastor who's been appointed to them is a person of credibility, a person who has been theologically trained, or someone who they should trust. But when that trust is broken, there should be a process in place to make sure that that is handled in a fair, just, and equitable fashion. And so part of that is the complaint process, so that when this person who is a local pastor or a deacon or an elder is accused of breaking that trust, there is a process in place that is fair, just, and equitable. And so the complaint process is at that point triggered by either a written complaint. Usually we want a written and signed complaint to carry that person through, to try to determine the truthfulness of the complaint and how we might resolve it. Rather than take it all the way through what we would call a church trial, there is this thing called just resolution, which means that the person bringing the complaint and the person against whom the complaint is lodged can sit down with the bishop or either a third person who they both might choose to be or the bishop might choose, to be the arbitrator, and they can come up with what they believe is a just resolution. And so at that point, the complainant usually drives that because they're the one who feel they've been injured as a result of this, and they will literally say, this is what I believe would help me to know that I have been heard and that this is a just decision, and it now helps me to feel that you have taken my complaint seriously, and then the person who the complaint is brought against is repentant of what they've done and also agrees to that. And that's usually written up, signed by all parties. The complainant, the respondent, who is the person who the complaint is being brought against, and the bishop would all sign that and say, this is the way in which we're going to handle that. And that's called a just resolution. And that sometimes takes maybe as little as a day or two. Other times it may take several months working back and forth, trying to solve that. And it really is a very complicated process, but it is a process that I believe in. Yeah. And there are some new rules around it. That is that some people really believe that we have not allowed the complainant to always know why we dismissed the complaint. In Mississippi, we've always done that. I know since I've been here, I can't testify before, but we've always told the complainant, that your complaint has no basis in law or in fact. Now they took the fact out, so now it's just saying no basis in law. In other words, that what you're bringing the complaint about, there is no law to oversee that. That's the reason why that complaint is not being not given just consideration. But we've always done that. And then there's another piece to that says that we would tell the complainant exactly what we imposed as a result of your complaint. Well, they can't sign it without seeing it because it's all there in writing as to what would happen. So we've always done that. So I'm assuming that in some annual conferences they feel like that has not been done. And so that's kind of the just resolution in a nutshell, and the complaint. There's a little bit more to it, but I'd be here a long time.